Hey everyone, welcome back to the Living in Maryland channel where we discuss all things living here in the great state of Maryland. So if that's the kind of information that you are looking for, then you are in the right place. And today we are checking in again with another market update. It's already been another month and the most recent numbers came out from Maryland Association of Realtors, and just wanted to go over those with you real quick. So right before we jump into to that data, just want to let you know if there's ever anything that you need, if you are thinking about buying or selling a home here in Maryland, that is exactly what I help people do. If there's ever anything I can do to assist or a conversation you'd like to have around that, please feel free to reach out however you are most comfortable. Days, nights, and weekends, we got your back when moving here to the great state of Maryland. So jumping into the most recent data here from Maryland Association of Realtors, we've got sales continuing to be on the decline. So we've got 10.7% decline year over year. So from this time last year, we are 10.7% less overall units sold in the marketplace. And we've been seeing this for 18 plus months now. Just every month, it's on the decline. So just less and less homes selling every month. Which means that it's just going to we're just continuing to see that competition, overall in most parts of the marketplace here in Maryland. So something to be aware of. We've got average and median home sales price up 7.5% from this time last year. So we've now got an average sales price here in the state of Maryland of $465,000, and we've got a median sales price here in the state of Maryland right around $400,000. All right, next couple things I wanted to let you know about is that the median days on market here in Maryland is pretty unchanged from this time last year, but we're sitting at 15 days for the median days on market for properties here in Maryland. And then next, our months of inventory, which is basically our absorption rate. So if no new homes came onto the market, how long would it take all existing homes to go under contract and sell? We're at 1.4 months. Anything under 3 months historically is a seller's market. So the numbers are saying that we're still in a seller's market, which is something that I'm continuing to see each day. Most homes are still very competitive. They're going for, at or around list price. And that's just kind of what we're continuing to see in the marketplace. Now, that's not the case for all homes, of course, but that's definitely, for the most part, still what we're seeing in the marketplace. All right, next, I wanted to give you guys an idea of where interest rates are at, because I know these are all over the place. People are talking about a lot. So I just wanted to give you an update on where we're at today, which is heading right into February 1st. So we got a 30-year conventional mortgage sitting right around 6.75%. Now, I do always like to mention that it's so difficult to give an exact interest rate. I'm giving a market interest rate based on an average from hundreds of banks around the country. Interest rates do vary based on credit score. They vary based on overall consumer profile. So, what's your credit like, what's your income like, what's the loan amount that you're borrowing, what your debt to income ratio. So there's so many factors that go into that, but that is what you can expect if you are looking at a 30-year conventional rate. Now, your government loans, which are FHA, VA, USDA, those are sitting right around 6.05. Currently right now in the marketplace. So that's kind of what you can expect. Now there's also different things like they call hits to the rate, right? Hits to the rate would mean, that rate's going to be increased a little bit. Like if you're purchasing a condo, right? Lenders, there's a little more risk there for lenders for various reasons. So if you're looking at that rate and you're purchasing a condo, it's likely that rate may be a little higher. So there's certain things like that where it just makes it very difficult to kind of really narrow down that rate. That's where you really need to talk to a lender to make sure that based on your circumstance and your situation and the property that you want to purchase, exactly what that interest rate is going to look like. So, all right, one more thing I wanted to mention about interest rates is that in these times, we are noticing and continuing to see, even for the last couple of years, interest rates they have the ability to take big daily swings. So just as an example, just yesterday, interest rates dropped 12 basis points. So they dropped from 6.87 to 6.75 in one day, which is pretty crazy. That's a pretty big swing just in one business day. So something to pay attention to if you are actively out in the marketplace, or if you are thinking about becoming a buyer or a seller out in the marketplace in the near future. Something to keep in mind, because this can significantly impact buyers. They're paying attention to this stuff. and just, the fact that these things can change so quickly. And even in a month, I mean, we've seen this recently, even in a month, rates can be a full percent lower or higher than they were just 30 days ago. So something to keep in mind with the marketplace now and how these rates have the ability to change and change very fast. And a couple of last things that I wanted to note for you guys, just that I'm seeing out in the marketplace is, and this next one is just that we're seeing this weird mix. Like, as I mentioned, we're at 1.4 months of inventory. That's a seller's market. So the market is in the favor of the seller at this time. But we're seeing this weird mix where, like, there's a lot of homes that are selling in the first week, maybe with 1, 2, 3, 4 plus offers. So we're still seeing that multiple offer situation that we saw a lot of almost exclusively during that post-COVID market. And, we're also seeing this, a fair amount of homes that are sitting on the market 30, 60 days. Now, there's a lot of reasons for that. I think the biggest thing is that list price. So the price of the home based on the condition that it's in. So this is something that I really advise people take a look at. If you are looking at a home that's brand new to the market, I think it's really important to kind of do maybe not a ton of time spent on this, but do an evaluation of the price of that home, because the list price is set by the seller. So we have to kind of maybe jump in there and just do a little research, because we don't know exactly where that's going. Now, this is just an example. I spoke to a listing agent a couple days ago, and he was telling me that he advises all his sellers to start low, below market value, in order to generate multiple offers, to generate buyer competition, which is going to start getting buyers to, go up in price and start stripping down their contingencies, their protection, things like inspections, things like that. So just something to keep in mind, because it can be frustrating, to walk into a property and be like, okay, this list price isn't bad, but then all of a sudden it's going up 25 grand. So just something to keep in mind. Now, there's some sellers who start right at market value, and maybe it takes them a couple weeks to sell. Maybe there's some that are pushing it. Maybe they start high 15, 20 grand, and it takes them 30 days to come down. So these are things to just kind of keep in mind, because sometimes that list price can be a little misleading, because we don't know exactly what was going on in the seller's mind and kind of how they were approaching and coming to that list price. So something to keep in mind that we're continuing to see a lot here in the marketplace. And then last but not least, I wanted to mention that new construction builders, new builders. This is an opportunity that I think, may be good for some people depending on their situation. There's a ton of incentives out there. So if you are someone who maybe has a home to sell, like an existing home to sell, a home sale contingency, this is something that's definitely something to think about, because on your resale properties, it's still really, really hard to get a home sale contingency in there because of the level of competition. You likely may be competing against other offers, and there's some sellers out there that just even straight up market before they even go to the market that they don't want to work with a home sale contingency. They just feel that may be too risky. So with new construction, you look at that, there's just a lot more options for certain things like that. The incentives out there, I mean, it's pretty uncommon to see a builder that doesn't offer something. It can be anywhere from $10,000 to $30,000 in incentives to offset your closing costs, buy down interest rates. So things to just keep in mind. I had a VA buyer close in the last week with a new construction builder here in the Central Maryland area. It was a VA buyer, so they were able to put no down payment down. They did a $10,000 earnest money in the beginning, and they got roughly a $7,500 refund at closing. So he got into that home for about $2,500, no more than $3,000. So something to, it's hard to do that on the resale side, because you're almost always going to have to pay your own closing costs, which is going to be a minimum, of 3.5% to 4.5% of the sales price, assuming you have to be, strong, competitive out there. So something to keep in mind. A lot of opportunities with builders, if that's something you're willing to do, if that's something that your budget, if that's something in your budget. So something to think about. If you ever have any real estate questions, please feel free to reach out. Hope you guys have an amazing day, and we will see you at the next video.